Hi, Genesis. We're going to read a book today called Armando in the Blue Tarp School. All day, Armando and Papa had worked at the dump, picking through trash. Now they trudged down the rocky hillside. Afternoon sunlight shone on broken glass, rickety fences, and tumble-down houses in their colonia, their neighborhood. So they live in a place called a colonia. They must live somewhere that's different from where we live. Rickety fences means that the fence is kind of broken, and trudged means they kind of like moved slowly through mud or whatever ground they're walking on. But beep, a truck horn blared from below. Armando pointed. Mira, look, Papa, it's Senor David from last summer. Papa was silent for a moment. Then he said, You can go just this once. Armando hurried down the gravelly path to tell his friends, Isabella, the news. Off they ran, down the dirt road, across the wobbly plank, and past the big rock. Senor David, you're back, said Armando. My friends, mi amigos, I've missed you, said Senor David, spreading a big tarp on the ground. Your school, Armando said. I remember. The first time Senor David called his blue tarp a school, Armando had it understood. He thought schools had walls, floors, and roofs. But Senor David said his school could be anywhere, even on a tarp in a colonia. Ready to learn more? Asked Senor David. See, the children shouted. Yes. Where do you think these children live? What language are they speaking? Do you recognize any of the words? Look at all the animals. What animals are around them? What does that maybe help tell you where they live too? And what do you think school means if there's a big tarp? Remember, what is the name of this book again? Armando in the Blue Tarp School. I wonder if you have any predictions. Nearby, scrawny chickens pecked at the dirt. Those chickens I was talking about. Hens, said Senor David. He flapped his arms. Brock, brock, brock. La gallina hen, said the children. They flapped their arms too. Brock, brock, brock. On his chalkboard, Senor David wrote the letters of the alphabet. Do you know what the letters of the alphabet are? The children called out letters in Spanish and English, then practiced words they had learned last year. House, la casa. Boy, el muchacho. Girl, la muchacha. Very good, muy bien, said Senor David. We'll work hard this summer, but we'll have fun too. Armando couldn't wait. Do you think this sounds like a fun school? Do you think those kids are having fun? How can you tell? What about their faces show you that they are happy? That night, Armando ate slowly. At last, he asked if he could go to school on Senor David's blue tarp. Papa frowned. Do not fill your head with dreams of school. Why do you think he said that? I went last year, said Armando. You are older now, said Papa. I wish things could be different, but we are pepinodoros, trash pickers. Oh, so maybe that's why they were in the trash the other day. You must do the work of our family. So maybe that's why he doesn't want him to go to school, because they have work to do. What do you think about that? About a parent telling a child that they can't go to school? Mama added, Your sisters are small. I need to stay here with them. The money you and Papa earn helps us live. That tear stung Armando's eyes. That means he's crying, right? More than anything he wanted to learn, but he knew Papa and Mama were right. Later, Armando sat on his thin mattress with a stubby pencil He sketched a picture. We're going to continue from where I was reading. We were reading this book called, let's go to the beginning of it because I don't want to mess up, Armando in the Blue Tarp School. And we've learned that him and his papa work at the dump, picking through trash, that there's this school that's on a blue tarp that he wants to go to, and that they live amongst chickens in something called a colonia. So the last thing that I read was later Armando sat on his thin mattress. Remember, he's upset because his dad told him he can't go to school. With a stubby pencil. So what do you think that means, that they have a lot of money to have a lot of pencils if all he has is one little stubby pencil? And if he sleeps on a mattress that's thin, what else does that tell you? What I can tell is maybe their family doesn't have a lot of money. But he sketched a picture of Senor David's truck. Can you draw a picture of Senor David's truck for me on a piece of paper and send a picture of it to me? As Papa and Armando neared the dump the next morning, the foul smell grew stronger and stronger. Does trash smell very good? And if you're surrounded by trash, do you think that smells very good? I don't think so. Rumbling trash trucks backed up. Eep, eep, eep. Out tumbled heaps of garbage. Workers rushed forward to tear up boxes and rip open plastic bags. Flocks of squawking seagulls circled and dove, fighting over bits of rotting food. Look at all the seagulls in this picture. Armando searched for bottles and cans, clothes and toys, some to sell, some to use. So that must be where he gets toys. In one tattered bag, he found shiny buttons and silvery thread. From another, he pulled a smudged notebook and a dented tin of paints. These he kept. Armando mopped his sweaty face and swatted up buzzing flies. What was Senor David teaching now, he wondered. So what do we know about Armando? What kind of character is Armando? What does he like to do? What is important to him? Let's keep that in our head. By the time Armando and Papa headed for home, the sun dipped low, painting the sky red. Hearing the gate squeak, Isabella raced over to share what she had learned at school. Remember, Isabella is his friend. Words covered her paper. La rana is frog, she said. We hopped with Senor David. We said, crua, crua, and ribbit, ribbit. Armando's shoulders drooped. Drooped means they go down. What does that tell you? Does that mean that he's happy? Does that mean that he's sad? What can you tell from what he's doing with his body that tells you what he's feeling? I wish I could go with you. I know, said Isabella, but I'll bring you new words, I promise. So it looks like they're learning how to speak English at this Tarp school. After Isabella left, Armando copied her words into his notebook. Then he made a picture for each one. Before he went to sleep, he put his notebook and paints with the other treasures on the ledge above his bed. Every day Armando worked at the dump, and every day he longed to be sitting on the blue tarp. One evening, Papa said, "People are talking about Senor David's school." Armando's stomach flip-flopped. What does that mean? What do you think he's feeling right now? We've always been pepinadores, Papa went on. But learning is important. It could help you find different work when you grow up, maybe in the city. So Mama and I have decided you may leave the dump early for school. But the money, said Armando. Somehow we will manage. Gracias, Papa, thank you. Armando hurried outside to tell Isabella. They whooped with joy. So I want you to pause the video and draw a picture of Armando. And at the top of the page, I want you to spell his name. You spell Armando Armando. And I want you to write around him things that you know about Armando, or you can draw pictures. What do we know that he likes and things that are important to him? So we know he likes to paint. We know that he likes to learn and that him and his family are trash pickers. So you could put a bunch of different things about what you know about him. And you know that he's friends with Isabella. So think about what you know about Armando. And I want you to write them down and take a picture and send it to me. So from then on, Armando worked mornings with Papa. Each afternoon, Armando and Isabella walked down the dirt road, across the wobbly plank, and past the big rock to Senor David's school. Sometimes the lessons were easy, and sometimes they were hard, just like school, right? But soon the children could write sentences and do numbers. They sang songs, played games, and drew pictures. Below a drawing of red flowers, Armando wrote, "La rosas huelen bien." Roses smell nice. By a girl jumping rope, he wrote, "Isabella salta." Isabella jumps. One day, a cow lumbered by. "Hola, vaca," said Armando. "Moo." "Hello, cows," said Senor David. "Moo, moo. Cows give milk. La leche." "Cows give milk," echoed the children. Oh. So something I'm noticing about this is that they have all these pictures of things to learn. They have some subtraction, addition. What else can you tell that they're learning by just looking at the pictures? Another day, Armando sketched a fat pig snuffling through garbage. "Great pig! Tremendo certo," said Senor David. Then Armando showed him a painting he had made of a tall man with brown hair and a mustache. On it he had written, "Mi amigo," my friend. "Is that me?" asked Senor David. "Sí," said Armando. "Gracias, mi amigo," said Senor David. He shook Armando's hand. Week after week, Armando wrote, drew, and painted. Soon words, sentences, and bright pictures filled his notebook. What else do we know about Armando? I'm also noticing that we have a little gray dog in almost every page. One night, the smell of smoke jolted Armando awake. Winds howled, wood crackled. Look at the picture. "Fuego, fuego!" people shouted. "Fire, fire!" Mama and Papa gathered the children and ran from the house. Flames roared through the colonia. Papa rushed to help. Men slapped at the fire with wet blankets. They threw buckets of water. Safe on the hillside, Mama hugged the children close. Oh my gosh, what do we know about Armando now? What can you tell they're feeling by their bodies? Heart thudding. Armando watched as a wall of greedy flames swallowed up his house. Interesting. People can be greedy, right? That means they're selfish. But flames being greedy, that must mean that they are just taking over everything. At dawn, hot ashes smoldered, means they were very hot. Many houses had burned. Armando stared at the patch of ground where his family's home had stood. Nothing was left. Senor David put a hand on Armando's shoulder. "Your words and drawings?" "Todo es perdido," said Armando in a small, sad voice. "All gone." "I'm sorry, lo siento," said Senor David. Wow, what do you think's going to happen next? 2 days later, the scent of smoke still hung in the air. Senor David and the children gathered on his blue tarp. "What a hard time for you, mis amigos," he said. "No lessons today. Let's just draw." Armando colored orange and red flames, black smoke, and frightened faces. As the children worked, a car drove up. Please welcome our visitors, Senor David said. They're writing a story about the Please welcome our visitors, Senor David said. They're writing a story about the fire in our school for the city newspaper. The photographer snapped pictures. The reporter scribbled notes. When she spotted Armando's drawing, she asked to borrow it. Armando wondered why. He glanced at Senor David. Go ahead, Armando, he said. It's okay. What do you think that the photographer is going to do with Armando's drawing? Also, or it's the reporter, my apologies. The reporter is here. This is the photographer. And look who's here in the corner again. The next day, Senor David held up a newspaper. Look, mira, he said. Armando's eyes grew wide. Whose drawing is that? On the front page was his drawing in the fiery night. His picture for everyone to see. The children cheered. Armando grinned. Senor David gave him a copy of the paper to show Mama and Papa. Later that week came another surprise. When a kind woman in the city saw Armando's painting, read the story, she sent money to build a school. Where? Asked Armando. Right where our blue tarp school has been, said Senor David. Armando closed his eyes, imagining how the school would look. So even though something terrible happened, something very good is happening too. So what else do we know about Armando now? Over the next weeks, Senor David and Papa built a new house for Armando's family from fence boards, chicken wire, and old garage doors. They helped other families rebuild too. Whenever people could, they worked on the school. They mixed cement and smoothed out the floor. They sawed wood and pounded nails to build 4 walls and a sturdy roof. Light poured in where the windows would go. At last the school was finished. The children crowded inside, chattering and pointing. Then they darted from benches to tables to books with colorful pictures. Isabella ran her fingers over the braided blue rug. It's like our blue tarp, she said. Then Armando spotted a wooden easel splattered with paint. Your papa brought that, said Senor David. Armando's eyes sparkled. Papa wanted him here, learning and painting. Ever since the first beep of Senor David's truck horn, Armando had longed for such a place to learn, a place to grow, a place for friends. Armando flung his arms wide. Words tumbled out. I am happy from here to the sky. So what do we know about Armando and his dad, his papa? What has changed about their relationship? What did Papa want? And now what does Papa want? How has Papa's relationship and his thoughts on school changed? So authors know, although the story is fiction, it is based in fact. Senor David is David Lynch, a former special education teacher from New York. So this is based on a true story about a teacher who came and helped start a school in a colonia. But if you noticed, the families in the colonia, they all worked together. Whenever people could, they helped, right? So what else do we know about this character, Armando? We know so much about him. And it's so interesting to see how he changes throughout the story. I look forward to seeing your work, and thank you so much for being along with my read aloud. I can't wait to see the work that you have given me. Hi, so I want to go deeper into Armando in the Blue Tarp and what we think about the story and how the characters have changed in the story. So I want you first to think about who are the characters in the story. So on a piece of paper, I want you to write for me, who are these characters in the story? So who are the characters? Okay, so that's one thing I want you to focus on. Who are the characters? Also want you to focus on how does Papa change in the story? So you can use the sentence, Papa changes by, or Papa, you can think about how does he like school in the beginning, and then how does he change his opinion in the end? How does Papa change in the story? And you can think about how does Armando change? And what happened in the story? What happened in the beginning? What happened in the middle? What happened in the end? What happened in the beginning, the middle, and how did it end? And in the end, right? How would you tell somebody this story? Do you think you need a building to have school? I want you to answer that question for me. Do you think that in order for us to have a school that we need to be in a building? That you have to have a strict going to school in a classroom in order to learn? If you think about right now, we are in a classroom and hopefully you're learning something. So it's interesting to think about how in a small little town in Mexico, like in the story, or whatever country this is happening in, that they might not have very much and they might be having school in a different way. But even here in America, where we have a lot, we are also not having school in the normal way right now. So it's interesting to think about, and I want to hear your thoughts on it too. So please do a couple sentences answering these questions in the best way you can do it. So here are the words, so you can pause the video and use these words in sentences. And I want you to send me a picture of that as well. Thank you for joining me, Genesis. I look forward to seeing your work.